Well, I finally got an old scroll saw out of storage, and looks like something's missing on the category, don't it? Well, I cut out old Mario. Foot got a little messed up because I'm using old pallet wood, and old pallet wood is always not forgiving nor kind. And if you look at it, you can see how it's split. And I might try to chisel it apart if I can do it without completely destroying it. And I still need to add some color to his hair and get the old boots browned up. And I was using glitter pens on wood, which is a little crazy, using a marker on wood. And the pen, as you can see, and a marker, it takes a little bit of effort and a little bit of patience. But if I can chisel this apart, what I was thinking is making Mario in sections where he's on a piece of wood and stagger each piece when I take a chisel apart, and then it can make Mario look like he's jumping up to hit a block to get coins or what have you. But it ain't too bad. That's my little Mario. Now, I mean, I'm more like that's kind of how the story of Santa Claus went, where he just started making stuff out of a little bit of nothing and start giving away to the kids. It's a little hard to get Mario to stand the way I want him to, but this is my video on some of my woodworking. And then the old scroll saw, I got it for a pretty good price, a whole whopping 30 bucks. There's a scroll saw. Now I bought these little blades off Amazon for about $6. I do everything with hardly anything at all, or not much money at all. And she does kick off a little bit of vibration. Watch when I fire it up, you're going to see a little bit of vibration there. So usually when I'm cutting, I have to work it this way and hold it where it's not sliding. And when you're cutting these lines, as you can see, this scroll saw blade doesn't go any direction. So what you got to do is you got to adjust. And what I do is I cut multiple lines in and in and in and in. And then as you're working it, you can go like this, and you can kind of spin her to a certain amount of level to work the wood and cut it out. But it's not always easy when you're working with wood and metal and different types of material. Sometimes it's forgiving and sometimes it's not very forgiving at all. But I do believe Mario turned out to be quite good. And I'm sorry to the rebel flags in there. It's more of a historic thing than any kind of hatred, because I'm not racist by any sentiment, because I'm a lot Native American and I don't believe in racism whatsoever, no form of it. So we can skip that in my video. But that's Mario. You can see my plants and everything in my house, because I'm doing this inside. I ain't doing this professionally. I don't have a backdrop. I mean, if I had more money, I'd probably invest in it eventually. But I'm just doing this mainly for my fun, of my amusement, and teaching other people that you can have hobbies, downsize them to be able to afford them. And anyway, this is just what I do. And then you can see I got Yoshi right there, one of the monsters from like Super Mario World on the old Super Nintendo. And there's a guy that's been around since the NES days on the 8-bit. And there's another guy that's in the water level on the old NES. And then there's old Goomba, which is kind of crazy, the name of it. And there's Luigi. I kind of ran out of space, but I didn't have a whole lot of space to work with on the old board. And then I collected a lot of pallet wood, and I busted it apart. And I used a table saw that was inherited to me by my uncle. My aunt passed away many years ago, and so they sold the house, so I ended up getting a table saw, which made it feasible for me to cut the wood so that I could use my scroll saw and work it. And I try to cut everything in a certain amount of increments to where I can actually draw on it, as you see, where I have workable wood, not a gigantic piece, but a piece big enough I can draw on. Then the problem with it being used wood, you can look at the grain of the wood and you can see it's a little crazy. And then being the way it is, you can see this is the part that's not forgiving, because it makes it crack. And you can see where it splits and everything, because basically all this wood's compressed, kind of like mashed together, kind of like particle wood. And you can see the lines and the imperfections in it. But a lot of things have imperfections in it. It's kind of like wabi-sabi, or the imperfections is what gives it the life and the detail to make it unique. And you can see how it's unforgiving. We'll see if I can split them in the pieces and make more of them. But usually I don't set it up. But I'll get a backdrop and set up the tripod and do a little bit more. Because I like to show people you don't have to have millions of dollars to do a hobby. Because I see a lot of videos, and realistically, they have a lot of tools to do something simple. Like you see people with $20,000 in tools making a $100 knife or $20 knife. That's nice. I'm not jealous. But you need to, I'd like to be able to show people you can do everything with less and then you have more in return, which means you value what you make because you're doing it with minimal materials, which mine are dumpster dives, fines. My tools are usually yard sales or secondhand or Harbor Freight. And I mean, for doing body work, I try to buy mediocre tools, some from Harbor Freight, some from Eastwood, some from here and there. I have a few different tools, little DeWalt, Snap-on, Craftsman, but not having a job is a little difficult since the COVID thing. But anyway, if you love woodworking, you like to do things, try to do new things, you want to do some little crafting with your kids, I mean, you can do this pretty safely. Just have goggles and have attention if you're having teenagers or kids so they don't cut themselves. I mean, they're not going to extremely cut themselves bad on the blades, you can see, but anything can happen. But number one, foremost, always wear your glasses. Much love, and if you enjoyed the video, like and subscribe, or try to get out there and do some hobby yourself. Look around. You never know what you might find, and that is all.